Okay, folks, welcome back. Spoon TV. We've remained here since about 5 a.m. this morning. This apartment complex reportedly got at fire around 2 a.m. this morning. The community dwellers have been doing their best. So far, they've been able to quench the fire to a very large extent, but the damage has been done. 3 apartment buildings totally burnt, and you can see the debris. We just want to show you the aftermath. There are also prominent citizens, including the district representative Frank Safoko, who has also come here on the scene. Mr. Richard Gray, his apartment complex, according to what we gathered, this was inhabited, but the resident was away. The resident is in the States, and another is being used as an office space, and all of the documents and equipment in that office space were burnt totally. So the community dwellers, through their very hard effort, they've been able to bring this raging fire under control, but the level of damage that has been done cannot be replaced. All of this will have to be done over with. So they're saying they don't need the fire service to respond anymore because they've done the work for the Liberian National Fire Service, as in many of the other fire incident cases in the country. They used water from buckets. They were able to have accomplished this so far with no safety boots, no gloves, nothing. These guys have braved it. These are the true heroes. They're still doing their work. They're still doing what they started since 2 a.m. this morning in order to save the other buildings within this compound. So far, we don't see fire on the roof. Most of the building does not have any roof anymore. It has all been charred. But these guys are doing their bit. So we want to speak to the district representative for a minute so that we can talk about this issue of the decentralization of the fire service, as we do see as well. So let's see if we can speak with him quickly. Morning, Representative Fogo. It's another tragedy in district number 9, as we also had a fire incident 2 weeks ago along the Lakbasi area there. With the calls being made to the fire service, no response. What does this speak, to a country that much of the blame is also put at the feet of the legislature?
Yeah, this is really unfortunate. The legislature should be held responsible for this. Why do I say so? We do the appropriation of the budget. I think this is something that should be taken into consideration. We have tried on 2 occasions. We did a communication. We made these recommendations on radio. This especially when it comes to the legislature. So our argument has been at least every district in Liberia, 73 districts should have at least one fire service truck assigned to them, and have those boreholes in all of those places. But we are hoping that by the special grace of God that we can keep teaching the least can find ideas in the best interest, because these are people we represent. These are people we represent. So in as much as we represent these people, we should work in their interest. So this is not about the lobbyists' work. This is not about because if government can make available, can buy each lawmaker 2 cars in 6 years. After 3 years, they value another car. We believe that we can also take into consideration that our people need these fire service trucks and ambulances. So this is not a good thing. I've called fire service this morning, and I think the boss of fire service should be on top of the game. How can we, in the heart of the city, receive calls, send since 2 o'clock, for a fire service truck to come, and this cannot be available. And we have few trucks, as I learned, we have few trucks there. So why are those trucks not effective? So that means the managing aspect of those trucks at fire service are not being put into place. So we believe that the institution should do her best. Whenever you've given the opportunity by the president, you've been appointed by the president, you should be able to put your leadership skill on and put all these things in place. These are things that should be in place. How can we have people managing these institutions that are not doing their best? They have to do their best.
So let's talk about this quickly before I let you go. I know it's too early and all of that, but what are you doing? I know it's not your responsibility, but where in the system is not working effectively, what are you then doing as the elected representative of your people to make sure that, look, if this is not working, in my own capacity, this is what I can do to make sure that we can save the lives? Because today, no lives were lost, but you can see the magnitude of the properties that have been damaged so far. Without the help of these guys, this would have been worse than what it is. As an individual representative as well, it is not your place, but what are you doing?
So basically what we've done, some part of last year we got in, while we work with the national government in making sure, more especially with the legislature, to make some appropriation for having these trucks into the budget. We also, I was able to work with some of my friends in Europe, that is in France, and we got some trucks, but we already almost done with the transaction. We were able to get these trucks from Paris. We got these trucks, so we are hoping by the grace of God, as soon as possible, those trucks should be in the country. And this is at my own expense, and I was able to reach out to some government officials, some friends, to help me in the process to transport them. You already know that we have duty-free, 2 duty-free every year. So I will basically be using my duty-free after I shall have concluded with the transactions from France. Like you rightly said, it should not be me buying trucks from my own money, from my own pocket. But while we wait on national government through the legislature to make sure that these things are factored within the budget, into the national budget of the entire country, because no matter what, I bring in 2-3 trucks to the country to serve my people in the district. What about those other 72 districts in Liberia? So my issue should not be selfish, it should be very holistic. So as we go back in January at the legislature, national legislature, we're going to make sure that you will hear our voices. And this time around, we're not going to be moderate about it, because we've been very moderate, we've been very civilized about it. People are going to term us as being barbaric. We agree with that, but we're going to make sure that our voices go out there very loud, very loud, so that our people interests can be taken, high on the agenda. Because sometimes when these things happen, what happens, it comes back to us from the legislature. People blame us as individuals. We come back to our district, like now, this morning I'm here. Imagine this place caught up fire since 2 a.m. this morning. And we are here to make sure that, people put out the fire manually, and this shouldn't be. So our people in our different districts owe some of us responsible that we should have these things available, most especially as we are at the legislature, we have the power.
Is the fire service a failure? If you look at their rate of responses, are you saying, I know you want to hold the leadership, but as an entity, the leadership, everything combined, when you look at the rate of which they respond and how they respond and all of that, like we heard this morning, the truck was in Douala, so they couldn't respond here. When you look at this as a national leader, even as a private citizen, how can you quantify the fire services, service to the people? A failure, moderate failure, or massive failure?
No, I cannot say massive failure. I want to believe that, like I said, leadership is a problem, most especially for, I want to see there as a problem, because we have communicated with them on many occasions, and to be honest, they have responded in many of these times. When we call them, they responded. Sometimes they being very, very reckless about their responses. So I think the leadership, they have to double up to do more. They have to put a lot of these things in place. They have to put these measures in place. This is such about leadership, because they've been given the opportunity to work from that angle. So we believe that they are all experts who understand how it works. They have been there for 6 years. So making their case at times. So my question is, have they been really making the case? Have they been putting all of those necessary measures in place in making sure that their institution is highly funded in their best interest? But again, like we said, this is about solving the problem, and we are here. We have seen this. As we go back to the national legislature, they should be able to take this into consideration.
Okay. So, water is all right. Water is a private water. Are they coming here? I think they're coming here. So, Representative Foko will reconnect with you.
Okay.
But let's. I beg, excuse me, sir. Let's see. So we're seeing a private water truck, and this guy has just decided to come and help. It's his private truck.
Fire service. Fire service.
Chief, move on behind your own truck now. Morning, Chief. I see you brought your own private water truck to respond. Why do you think it's yeah? Oh, please. You said you just move on the road. Just move on the road, Chief. So this guy has decided to respond with his private water truck. Yeah. Yeah. So he's directing the truck, and after that we'll speak with him. Yeah.
No, not a fire service. But the water truck from the fish market. But on the fire off, eh?
So this guy. So all of this has been citizens' intervention. So far, none from the state, except for the few police officers that we've seen. And this guy has brought his truck personally to help. And so much of the work, again, as we said, done by these community dwellers, but citizens are still intervening. According to him, he was watching Spoon TV and saw what was happening and decided to come and respond. So this is what the fire service should be doing. This is what the fire service should be doing. And these guys are doing it. I'm gonna move on, and I think I'll show you a way. So they are thinking that it's the fire service. So there is a confusion because others are mistaking these guys to be fire service and they do not want their intervention. But this is a private truck, and this guy said he was watching Spoon TV and decided to intervene because the fire service couldn't arrive. So the owner of the property is
No. Okay.
all right. So also the former 102 of the Liberia National Police, A.B. Kroma, is also here.
Thank you very much.
Hello? Yeah. Yeah, morning. Morning, yeah, what is it? Mama, you have to take time before you go to water. What's that thing? You have to take time. Let go. Mama, take that. Hey, take that now.
So
You better. Open the tube. Get it, Mama, get the tube.
there's still
Take time, take time.
pockets of fire still raging on. So this is the issue about decentralization of the, not just the fire service, but of our emergency response services in the country. And fire stay on that thing now. Fire stay here, all on the floor, all around. Fire stay here. Yeah. So again, just a recap. This building was reported to have caught fire about 2 a.m. this morning, and nobody lost their life. There were no loss of lives in this particular incident, which is, you know, the silver lining in all of this. These apartments, one was an office complex, one was uninhabited, and another was being, you know, used by an individual who is in the States. So there was nobody within these buildings when the fire started. All of what they've lost are material properties, which, you know, in itself cannot equate to the life of a human being. But the fact that they've lost, you know, their property is also a sad thing, but there were no loss of lives. So far, the cause of the fire has not been established, but they're leaning towards, you know, an electrical short circuit that might have caused the fire. According to what we gathered, it started from this first apartment here and then raged on to the next 2 apartments. But due to the intervention of these community dwellers, like the guy with the pinkish looking hair there, and the rest of these guys, including the guy with the kind of lemon green looking shirt, and others, you know, responded since 2 a.m. So you can just do your calculation for almost 5 hours with just buckets, you know, trying to fight this fire. To a large extent, they were successful in making sure that the inferno was quenched, and it didn't affect these other buildings here, but the damage has already been done. For hours on end, this fellow has been taking bucket after bucket after bucket, making sure to do his best, he and his friends. There is still smoke bellowing from the buildings. The sticks are still having specks and fire raging on, pockets of fire still within the complex. And the no-show in many of these cases is that of the Liberia National Fire Service. What remains of documents being wheelbarrowed away. Majority of the equipment, office tools, and all of those necessary things that were, you know, locked up or burnt. But the good thing is, there wasn't the loss of any lives. Mr. Gray, the owner of these apartments, there with his hand on his wrist, in a sign of despair and distrust. It raises the question again, what kind of country are we living? Full of insecurities, No security, everything is possible. It could be your mama, your papa, brother, or sister. And those words are truly real. Today, it is this family. Tomorrow could be another family. In a country where there is no system when it comes to emergency response, only existing on paper, and in reality, there is none. Then community dwellers such as these guys become the heroes. In many cases, lives are lost, and the question is, where is our fire service? Should we now be talking about zoning our fire service? Every district within the country with 1 or 2 fire engines, with young men such as these recruited and trained to be voluntary firemen, firefighters, that they can be on reserve and getting something from their district representative's office to keep them up. And in the instance where there is a fire within their district, they respond until the headquarters of the National Fire Service can respond to that scene. If that is put in place, that plus many other suggestions will have an effective emergency service in our country. Empower the communities, train community fire servicemen, get fire trucks for the districts, and let everything not just be on the shoulders of one centralized fire station. When there is competing priorities like this morning, where we were told that the fire service had responded to another scene in Douala, you will be left on your own. So that's the former 102 of the LNP. He's also here, and he's been here for hours. So folks, so let me speak with Mr. Korban. Good morning, if you don't mind, just that will serve as the mic. Yeah, good morning.
Morning, sir.
Yeah, I see you here. You've been here for hours now. Not just in sympathy, but also making sure that this place is protected. When you look at what has happened today, no show of the National Fire Service, being a trained security officer yourself, what does that speak to security in this country?
I am a little out of words to see that up to now the state trying to prevent fire service death. I mean, when we had to go to see this guy, the truck, we had a businessman who just saw the need to provide some assistance, and then he came out. Everybody rushed on the guy's truck because the fire service delayed it. He said our country is better than this. You have a whole country where you can assist communities, and I saw you talking to the representative, the district representative right now. I think something more has to be done to actually save our country. I mean, the airport is right here. Springfield is just next door. We can get fire engine at the Springfield where you got fillable material. Where are we going to go? And I hope the incoming government functionaries are looking at this. There's a need to prioritize these things. This is exactly what we have to look at. With the agenda that Ambassador Barker has agenda, we have to be fast in doing this, and our expectation will have to be managed, but we have to now know that we are starting from zero at this point in time.
Let's talk about the security a bit. I heard you, making sure that this is secure, but let's look at what would have happened to the truck of that gentleman, as people mistook him in his truck for that of the National Fire Service, and with the anger that he didn't respond on time. When systems fail, what does that breed in a country such as ours?
Well, that's one of the reasons. You saw me talking to the police officer to make sure that police officers are here. This is exactly what the reason I saw it here. Because community members we are now very angry that the fire service did not report yet. And it would have gone bad because the people would have turned their frustration at the private business person. And to see that our country will not go down this way. We have to do better. If nothing is done, and I'm sure by now we're going to the end of this process, we need to do better than this.
Interesting.
For where we are right now, for the level of damage, for a country the age that we have, to see that we will now have private initiated to turn up the fire. And somebody got to be passionate and see that this is for your life. And that's for your life, if you're continuing to come on. I think it's something that I saw private people calling fire service to come. If you don't have water, we have well here. You can dig the well. We can actually put the pool in the well to get water. To go low that much is something that we have to do. We're better than this. That's what I'm saying.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So, A.B. Chroma, corner, former 102 of the Liberia National Police, you know, and he's been here. We did speak to the district representative as well, but due to the efforts of these guys, the community dwellers, the young men who were able to have responded since 2 a.m. this morning, they've been able to quench this fire to a very large extent. When we arrived, flames were all up in the air, gigantic ones. The place was very hot. The inferno was raging on, but they've been able to, in the absence of the Liberia National Fire Service, to do this. It's not quenched totally. There's still pockets of fire, but as they've done this, I'm sure they'll be ensuring that it's quenched in its entirety. So folks, thank you so much for watching Spoon TV. We just responded, and thank you. Bye-bye.